Hello, everyone who's joining us. We are just going to wait for a few minutes for more viewers to join. And thank you for joining us today. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for today's webinar on replatforming for results with Shopify Plus. My name is Vaibhavi. You can call me VG, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. I'm from Techtic Solutions. We are a New York-based e-commerce agency. I've been working in the industry for past 15 years, worked with brands across sector. And today we are bringing you a webinar in partnership with Shopify. So if you are an e-commerce brand thinking about migration or in a discussion with your team about migration, you are at the right place. Next 30 minutes of this time is actually going to be a power-packed discussion on how replatforming with Shopify Plus can help your brand scale faster. And for that, I am joined by a very amazing panel today. Let me start with Mark. Mark is a representative from Giftry. He brings his unique expertise in consumer trends, his data insights, and has a rich background in running brick and mortar and digital businesses. We are also joined by Kevin. Kevin is from Shopify. He's a partner for Shopify Solutions. He has been a recent addition to Shopify's team, but has been with Oracle for past 7 years and has an amazing insights on how migration can help brands keeping their data and insights intact. And of course, lastly, our own Nisrid Mehta, he's the CEO and founder for Techtic Solutions. He is our one-step person to go for everything e-commerce. So, even if it is about migration, conversions, design, anything that we have, we just go to him. So I think I'm bringing you a very insightful panel and a very good mix of people to talk today. So let's not waste a lot of time and dive into this. Okay, so we will start with fireside chat, and then if you have any questions, you can keep your questions in chat box. We will take up questions at the end of the discussion, and we will be more than happy to answer anything that you have that are bothering you, that are concerns that you have, that are things that is holding you back from taking that migration decision. We are here to help you today. Okay, so Mr. As an agency speak to a lot of brands inside day in day out, right? They come with various sort of questions, challenges, doubts. So what are some of the major questions that we face when brands come to us?
Uh, that's a very good question, and it's a huge, large list of different kinds of questions and kind of concerns that we have been facing for a lot of different merchants. And one of the so let me give you a few of the examples that some of the brands definitely have a problem in terms of anxiety around what am I going to, how am I going to migrate everything, or there are brands which are currently on legacy software or hosted platforms, and they have lot of challenges, kind of reaching to the next level or creating new features that becomes so much of a huge nightmare for them that they have a huge pile of lists which is currently pending. There are new lists that are constantly adding, and they cannot move forward in their growth journey as fast as they should be able to. That's kind of one segment of the story. The second segment of the story where lot of brands, they have the growth coming from these platforms already. So obviously, changing the platform from this one to something else, or from XYZ platform, let's say Magento or BigCommerce or whatever it is, right? From there to this platform could be a nightmare for them. How am I going to transfer it? The third major aspect of this is the integrations. So how are we going to have the integrations done from the ERP side of it? Or I have a NetSuite, and how am I going to integrate that? Or I have different other ones like Acumatica, and how am I going to do that? And is it going to be a seamless transition? There are so many third-party integrations that can come along. And moreover, they also have the fear on losing their traffic and so on. So day in and day out, yes, that is a much bigger challenge that we all have been facing, and that's something that I think there are a lot of different answers to this, and I have, in my experience, I've seen a lot of answers are done the right way from Shopify and the overall ecosystem around it, and I can continue to go on and on with the problem statements that we have. But so far, very few platforms have come up with any kind of an AI first approach where Shopify is doing amazing. I'm sure, I think
Yeah.
Kevin must have had these kind of issues going on every day, day in and day and night, and I'm sure that he must be having a lot of insight around that as well. So, Kevin, I'd love to hear how do you see the similar kind of challenges, and do you answer to those, and how do you answer to those?
Absolutely. And so you're touching on a lot of the common objections that some merchants have, and really there's a lot of, because we're talking about a little bit of fear and a little bit of doubt and uncertainty, and because Shopify as a component in our overall architecture, we know that we want to be the hub of commerce. Okay, but we know that when it comes down to it, that we have to be able to play nicely with other systems, especially in a larger enterprise. So when you're talking about those integrations, we do have a vast partner network that that provide technology solutions in predefined integrations. So whether it's with NetSuite, or whether it's with some of the tax software, and recently we have a new partnership with Manhattan, to where we have a formalized connector for that. So as a platform developer, Shopify is really looking forward to, and look, I should say, looking forward around having that integration. We want to be that platform that focuses on commerce. We know warehousing is a different speciality, and we want to be able to allow you to pick the best of breed in each of those areas that you need.
Some of the questions I can totally relate to, being a marketer, traffic, and then would it drop for me? What will happen to my rankings and everything is something that I would also be really concerned about. Mark, I would like to know, like, Gifttree migrated from a legacy to Shopify platform. How has been your experience with Shopify Plus, and anything that you would want to highlight from that migration journey? Anything that made life, oh yeah, that is easy kind of moment, or aha kind of moment with that journey?
Well, I appreciate being here and the question. Gifttree started 28 years ago and actually was founded on a legacy system and was e-commerce very early on. And during that period, they grew an e-commerce and IT team that did some amazing things when you think back to 97 and where the state of technology was. And they were very innovative with some of the first things they did, with a checkout that allowed for one buyer to send gifts to multiple addresses. And that was a big accomplishment early on with their internal legacy system. Over the years, maintaining both the internal IT structure with internal servers and an IT team, which at one time I think had close to 12 people, then 6, then 9, was a huge challenge for a mid-sized company. And even though they were very ahead of their time and at one point literally at the top of the market continually changed. And trying to constantly keep up with the technology, with the new languages, what was happening with Google or Facebook, or having a responsive website really changed the dynamic of the company from e-commerce to just IT. And I think that was not necessarily good for growth. So Shopify, to me, was a very sustainable, larger platform that would allow Gifttree to focus on e-commerce. Now, having said that, we knew there were going to be a lot of challenges migrating from our own servers, our own internal software. And that's where, the journey was challenging. I think having Techtic involved has made it much easier. They weren't part of the very initial transition, and then they were brought in. The notable difference for me was you have to have strong leadership, you have to have management, a tremendous understanding of all of the intricacies of a legacy system, and then what does that plan look like to transition that to Shopify. Now, having said that, there's been a lot of huge benefits to being part of Shopify, and we're part of the Shopify Plus platform. We're still working to make the user experience better. To us, that is key to achieve the revenue results. And I think, we are making ongoing progress there. But I would say, for a legacy company that had its own system, it is a big undertaking, but it is one that I do believe will have a far better outcome, and we're already starting to see that.
That sounds amazing. Yes. And I think that's why where I said that, everything e-commerce, when we have doubts, we definitely hands down go to Nisarg in the organization. So Nisarg, let me ask you, Mark talked about Mark talked a lot about the role of leadership, having that plan in place, having that migration and growth mindset in place. How does a typical migration process looks like? Like what sort of things you should be considering, and then what are the phases, if you can break them down for a better understanding?
So the migration is, it usually starts with your discovery. So understanding the business, how the business is being operated, what are the kind of customers do we have, how many do we have, or how many products do we have, what kind of products are configurable products or non-configurable products, or the product has a lot of variations. So there could be any number of combinations and permutations around the product, customer, and orders. So those are something that needs to be migrated, and we need to identify how those are supposed to be migrated to any of the new platforms. But that's just one side of it, right? So another side of this entire piece would be for the user to be able to understand the kind of business models that they are trying to carry. So different kinds of business models may have different kinds of things going on, and different kinds of things means that they may have the B2B side of it or the direct-to-consumer side of it. So those can be very kind of different kinds of experiences. And for as far as B2B is concerned, there could be a use case where this is how the B2B journey actually operates, and versus on the D2C, somebody comes in, buys something, and go forward. Again, with Shopify Plus, you can have the customized checkout and all of those experiences that can go along. So it can really help you to kind of drill down what the customer really looks for and how we can enter into that side of the conversation, right? And once the entire discovery is finished, where you know exactly who are the customers that you have, who are your customers, what are your orders, what are your products, how are you planning to sell them, or what are the different kinds of journeys that you want to define. Then you map that with the Shopify's ecosystem, including the applications, including what Shopify already has, like out of the box, whatever features that we can grab. And Shopify Plus has enormous amount of more features now being added every single time they have the new release. So with that, we map out everything, and then we start the process from the user experience side of it, and mapping that process, mapping that journey. Along with that, we also set up the process around how different things are going to be migrated and at what level are they going to be migrated. And then we also have to kind of ideate in a way that what are the checkpoints here. So then we define the checkpoints that, okay, when you are doing the migration from XYZ, whatever platform, to this platform, here are the checkpoints. These are the things that are the must-haves, which is the list that we already have. And the checklist is something that we always have, and we kind of try and cater those aspects of it and then go on from there. But usually it's a discovery, design, development, QA, go live. So that's pretty much the journey that we have followed up so far, and that's what I think that's the right way to go for it.
So I'm still going to continue with what Mark said, that we are continuously evolving in terms of technology and enhancements and everything. And now everyone wants a piece of AI into their ecosystem, the way things have been. And Shopify has recently announced in 20 Summer 25 edition a much bigger role of AI within the platform, within the ecosystem. Kevin, why don't you share something about that?
Absolutely. So you're right. AI is here, and it's having some phenomenal impact, and it is moving so quickly. So one of the things I'd like to touch on is a couple of things that Mark had said, as well as Nisarg, because the what Shopify provides is that platform, and we are constantly innovating, and that so when you look at Shopify, and specifically when you look at working with a partner like Techtic, okay, you are offloading expertise around a world of technology innovation that it's overwhelming. Okay, so a couple of things that we have announced at our summer edition is specifically around AI, and specifically around how our offering of AI impacts the merchant directly. And what I mean by that is that we are moving towards making the merchants more self-sufficient and efficient in their business processes. Let you focus on what makes your business money. That's what Shopify is trying to provide. And we can provide it only to a certain point. And like I said, that's when we rely on our partners like Techtic in order to get you across the line there. So let's take a look at our sidekick. Okay, so this is our AI assistant revolution. Okay, and what we're doing is that this is positioned to kind of change the way that merchants use our admin. So what we're focusing on with AI is allowing you as the user of the Shopify platform to use natural language in order to interact with the system. So what does that mean? That means that, let's say you want to add staff. Okay, instead of knowing that you have to go into the admin and you have to click on users and, oh my gosh, since last release that moved, it's not there anymore. Let me open up a chat and say, please add Kevin as a staff member, and boom, done. That's what Sidekick can do for you. And then when we're talking about our intelligent admin workflows, we're talking about automating a lot of the basic tasks. So where you take that admin interaction, let's talk about reporting. Again, natural language. It has an understanding of what your store is, what your sales have been, and you know what you can say. You can just in natural language. Hey, what was my best selling products of the last over the last quarter in what region and things like that. Allow you to focus in instead of having the workflow of I need to create a report. I need to create a visualization. You use your natural language in order to ask for that, and that's what we're trying to deliver to you. Those are the two main some of the main AI capabilities that we're using to leverage to allow merchants to succeed with AI in their commerce.
And I think at Techtic, that's something which is very relevant to us because we work with a lot of clients where we help them with conversion rate optimization. And when we are looking at dashboards, we actually want to see what's happening. It's always a deep dive within their dashboard to understand what's happening, what is coming, what is going out, and what's the whole game like. And I think that just ease up our workflow to understand what is happening at back end and how are the products moving. I think that's a wonderful addition from Shopify. Mark, we have been working for quite some time now, and I just want to understand from you, how has been your experience working with Techtic so far?
Well, very, very good. And Techtic came in and really turned this around when we were struggling with that transition, and it was a big transition for us because there were so many years of legacy technology that had to be transferred to Shopify. So Techtic was very good. I'd like to also add something onto what Kevin said. This is one of the reasons why Shopify and Techtic are so important to Gifttree. We wouldn't have had the resources or wanted to have put the energy into developing for AI. And that was one of the things that was so attractive to us because we had this large IT department, but what made us money was e-commerce. And so we wanted to focus on what we did best, selling product and having a good customer experience. And before Shopify, there was an enormous amount of our energy put into, okay, what's changing in the marketplace? What's changing with technology? Is our website responsive for mobile? Is our website right for what's going on with all of our advertising partners? Is it right for email? And we were putting so much effort into that. And that's where having this larger, robust Shopify Plus platform is very exciting. And we're just at that point where we're looking forward to seeing, now that we're at a point, how can we really grow this and grow business? And Techtic has been an amazing part of that.
All kudos to the team that has been working relentlessly for Gifttree. But again, I so much relate to what Mark said, because Shopify with itself brings an ecosystem, not just a platform, but an ecosystem. So you have a lot of partners that are going to do wonderful job for me. There's app for a lot of things that I would want to automate to support me. Nisarg, what would you like to add here? About what Mark said and about the entire ecosystem that Shopify offers?
Overall, from the ecosystem side of it, see, there are two aspects of it, right? So one is the solution architecture and the platform that is already there. And then there comes the role of a tech agency or somebody else, right? So there are multiple different agencies, few little platforms. Each platform has their own customer base. Shopify being widely popular, Shopify is the go-to thing because out of the box you get everything, and the migration is easy, and you can have a lot of different things done by your own self. You don't need to call the IT department and say, oh, give me this report, or can you tell me that how this entire thing is going on, or what is my revenue like in the last one quarter, without the and that also gets achieved after 3, 4 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, and sometimes never received, right? So off the top of your head, these are some of the easiest things that Shopify already has, and it does that fairly well. So there's no point of doing that re-engineering aspect of it. that's, to me, that's just increasing the client's bill, right? So, that is the major problem that every single companies like Gifttree and there are a lot of other brands which Shopify is solving that problem for them, that giving them a solution which they really need and want, and they can easily use that. Simultaneously, they can also rely on an agency where Shopify also partners with agencies like ourselves, Techtic, in a way that is much more cohesive, and the value and the contribution that we have becomes equally important, from obviously the points that you mentioned, like conversion rate optimization, or what are the different aspects of how you look at the user journey, or how you look at the user's behavior or the user experience on the same website, right? So those are the areas which can be very important from the agency perspective, versus Shopify makes it easy and reduces a lot of overheads and a lot of chaotic conversations with the IT departments that a lot of the legacy systems already have been going through. So I think that I think that pretty much answers that question. But
Yes, so I mean, I want to give all us a quick break and run a few questions to our audience, and I'm going to launch a poll just to understand what our audience is feeling like. And yeah, so yeah, would love to know that which e-commerce platform currently you are using. And yeah. Great. And would love to know that if you are currently considering replatforming, what is the biggest reason you are considering replatforming?
it's very interesting.
So I think some very interesting insights that are coming in. And yeah, so customization remains as the biggest challenge a lot of people are facing. So I think that brings me to my next question. Kevin, when do you think a brand is ready for replatforming? And when it is not yet ready, like there's still buffer time, what are some of the key indications a brand has that it's time to migrate?
So I kind of break those down into two different buckets. So the first one, there's just that business volume and that scalability side of things. So where again, I'm gonna touch on what Mark had said about hosting their e-commerce platform, and some of our merchants, where it's similar to the traditional retail operation, and they have a massive spike during holidays. So one of the things that that Shopify has done, I mean, we about 12% of all US e-commerce goes through the Shopify platform. This past Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we're hitting records again and again. I mean, we're hitting hundreds of billions of dollars of transactions in a weekend. The volume, and that's global, but the volume of that and the engineering it takes in order to support something like that is that's what you get in the SaaS offering. So when you're looking at migrating Shopify, as your volume increases, there's always going to be costs around, what does the credit card processing cost you? And so that tends to grow. So there is there's a economic criteria that kind of pulls merchants into migrating to Shopify Plus. But what I like to focus on, because I'm about solutions, is it really comes down to your operational complexity and what your technical requirements are. So, with that previous poll, we were talking about customization. And so that can be everything from where you're just not able to represent your brand across your omni-channel presence. So whether it's from you want your customer to have the same experience online as in store, this is something that Shopify can deliver through partners like Techtic. These are the things that are, again, they're outside of the specific numbers, but they align with your business needs and your business direction. So whether it's something like a multi-location inventory and being able to ship from one location in order to fulfill an order that's closest, we have those are some of the operational complexities that Shopify can handle. We basically give the building blocks so that Techtic can build your bespoke solution.
And I think we have implemented extensive customization checkout with Gifttree. Mark, how has that helped to improve user experience overall? Do you think that it has been a very valuable added addition to entire experience a user goes through during Gifttree's process?
It's a journey, and we're in progress,
Yeah.
with that. And, I see ongoing improvements. Now, this was an area that we were very strong in, but as the marketplace was changing, we could not keep up with the technology. So this was an area that we've customized because we need to allow a buyer to ship to many different addresses, and that's a very important feature for us. But this is the first time in Gifttree's history that we're able to affect change not only without an IT department, but we don't have anybody on staff from IT. And so we rely on Techtic, and it's been very functional. And I feel extremely optimistic about where we're headed. So, to not have an IT department and to be able to keep up with marketplace and to look at how customers are using desktop versus mobile and make sure that checkout stays within that Shopify ecosystem. Because Shopify, one of the things that did attract us, has a very good checkout. It just wasn't right for our situation, but we didn't want to lose all the best aspects.
Agreed.
So we want to stay within the ecosystem and just be able to allow a buyer to have many ship to addresses. And so, I think we're in the journey, and I'm very optimistic. And to be able to do it without an IT department is amazing. And that's where we rely on the leadership and the IT development from Techtic.
Yes, and Nisha, what would you like to add on that? Customization is a topic that we stumble upon a lot of time when we are talking to customers, or when we are, a typical user that comes that, Shopify's building blocks, as you said, but then they'll really struggle with, how it is flexible to allow you to make a lot of customizations of your own. So, Nisha, what would you like to add to this?
So customizations can be done. Yes, obviously there is a checkout customization that comes with Shopify Plus, and we, as Mark suggested, I think we have made a significant progress there. We have So from where we were to where we are now, I think Shopify made it possible from the perspective of how the number of orders are able to be shipped to multiple people, and all of them have different addresses. Simultaneously, what we also did was we could actually integrate the generative AI for the gifting messages also. So that's also another part of it. But as far as customizations really go, right? So for example, any different brand has any kind of custom requirements. A lot of people have a notion that, oh, how would I do that just within this Shopify's box? But what majority of the merchants don't realize is Shopify also has an huge amount of data pointers, which are all the APIs and the data pointers, which you can use to create pretty much any kind of visually imaginable stuff that can be available anywhere else. And you just need to build your custom apps, and you can just plug and play with Shopify. With Shopify Flow, you can also do a lot of custom workflows that normally it's not there in majority of the platforms, but with Shopify Flow, that is also possible. Shopify Flow also gives you a lot of API access underneath it as well. So you can utilize that. So there are a lot of things which are visually or virtually not realized that these are the things that can be used. And one more aspect here is Shopify do not accept any kind of applications. So they have to be built within the Shopify's guidelines. They have to make sure that they review everything. They have to have certain kind of APIs, certain kind of rules, and all of them have to go through, and then those Shopify applications are approved, which means that whatever you integrate with your Shopify from the entire ecosystem, just so to speak, it's going to be 100% validated. It's not going to be cracked tomorrow, and it's not going to just create another chaos for your website, and suddenly your checkout stops, or suddenly you stop selling. I don't think we have had that case with any of our customers where checkout suddenly stopped. And I think that's where the cohesive ecosystem around this and the partners and the custom solutions around this really help, because the possibilities can be endless. It's just that you need to know the route to that.
Yeah. Kevin, when we are talking about a lot of customizations and a lot of integrations, I would also want to quickly touch upon a topic, how Shopify Plus supports omni-channel growth. There are brands who are planning to sell both online and offline and multiple stores, multiple channel fronts, how it is making their lives easy.
Absolutely. So we'll start off with our core foundation, which is a vision of unified commerce. I know that a lot of Shopify's competitors will use the same term, but again, I touched on it with the previous prompt about being able to have the similar experience online, in store, and all the way through. So where we give Techtic the tools to build that solution for you as a merchant, to where you can have a customer that purchases online, can have the customization to be able to configure a given product in a manner, there's whether it's viewing it in 3D, or being able to change color and things like that, to really give your end customer a feel for the product. But at the same time, if they receive it and it's not exactly what they want, well, maybe there's the local store that they can go to, they can return to, and it's the same experience that they would have online, just the physical manifestation of that. So those are two legs of the three-legged stool that we have with unified commerce, and the third one is going to be around B2B. And so where you have companies like a Viore, who where they're a brand that manufactures, their fashion product. They have the ability to sell online. They have their own retail stores, but then they also sell through through other retail locations like an REI, and so they want to manage that business between them. So again, there's your three-legged stool around a unified commerce experience. So when we look at that now, how do you as a merchant get to bring your customers in to your solution? And that's where we also have multi-channel sales integrations. So this is, we talked about online stores, we talked about retail stores. Those are two of those aspects. But we also allow you to sell anywhere. So where you have your ability to have an integration with a YouTube channel, to where you can pop up your button and boom, that goes straight to your ecom, or on your Facebook post, or any of the social commerce areas. If you're looking to to hire an influencer in order to push your brand, we have that integration into the Meta platform in order to drive that, not only just drive traffic to your product, but be able to know that's where the traffic is coming from. Because in order to hire an influencer, you want to validate that they're driving the business they're saying they're going to drive. So we give you the tools from a business in order to monitor that. So that's how we enable. We give that palette of a tool set to Nisarg and Techtic in order to develop those holistic solutions, for your business.
And I cannot agree more with you, because being a digital marketing person, I always want to validate that penny spent, and I always tell that that's the beauty of digital marketing. You have an end-to-end tracking on whatever you are spending versus where you are getting what. And that transparency is very important for a lot of business decisions and product decisions that we take every day. So I think, yes, this is a very important aspect of Shopify that helps. Nisat, what do you have to say on this?
There are endless amount of things that I have been seeing Shopify doing it over and over. And there are so many things that nobody thought that this is possible within those three-legged tools. Yes, I completely agree with Kevin. Apart from that, also there are a lot of different kinds of integrations with like third-party marketplaces and collectives where you can share your product to somebody else's store, or Shopify audiences where you will be able to understand the first. So it's not third-party data; it's first-hand data for the Shopify, and you can understand your customers much better. You can understand how they behave on the similar brands, and based on that, you can make your audience happy, and you can do the retargeting campaign accordingly. So there's a lot of value in terms of overall the omni-channel aspect of it, where you can not only just it's not always about sales. It's not always about selling things, but it's also about, being visible,
Yes,
and understanding exactly who you are selling it to, what you are selling, why they are buying. And I think a lot of different tools and technologies around Shopify and the ecosystem around it, that actually brings us to the point where we can say that, okay, now this is what I call omni-channel, because it not only helps me sell, but it also helps me understand from the value perspective and from the buyer's persona.
I think that's a very important piece of your three-legged tool that empowers a lot of merchants, and that insight plays a very critical role in designing new products or revamping things that we want to do. So it's not just about one part of product, that what is working and what is coming back to us, but also a lot about where we should move next. So yeah, it's an important part of that entire product ecosystem. In that note, I again would like to ask a few questions to the audience, and
The answer has to be yes. No, it has to be yes, right? I mean,
Yes, NSEC is a pro AI advocate, I think. And I think we all somewhere agree that it's really important.
for me, technology is built to reduce human efforts, and that's exactly what AI is able to do very nicely in certain areas. So I'm all in for it.
Yeah.
Okay, we need some answers here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think that, that again is the whole conception about, whether we are ready for AI or not. But I think, yeah, let's move forward. I think we had a lot of conversations today around what's happening, where are we going, and how e-commerce is going to be there, and AI is also going to be there, and how Shopify is helping us grow better. But if any one of you would like to add anything, the floor is open for your insights, any concluding words that you would like to tell our users. Mark, anything from you?
Well, I agree. AI is very, very important. And this is one of the things that we would not have had the resources to be part of in the same way that we can with Shopify. And so, this is where allowing us to focus on e-commerce and what we do best, and having the ecosystem with people who are experts and leaders. We want to be part of a team that has leaders in the space. And I think that's what's exciting for us.
And I think that's where the partnership ecosystem with Shopify and Techtic lays out wonderfully, where Shopify gives us the platform to create things that can enhance the entire user's journey, user's buying experience across platforms. So yeah. Mr. I have a question here. Somebody has asked that if they feel migrating from Magento to Shopify Plus will be too much of an hassle and higher TCO. How would you like to address that? I mean, we saw Magento as one of the leaders in the poll.
So most of the times, and I'm not going to bash any of the platforms here, but what I'm trying to understand is if the current platform is a legacy platform, and if the current platform is able to kind of do everything that you are trying to do, then you need to ask yourself what's holding you back in terms of growing on that platform. Obviously, you have the different kinds of reservations around it, and that's the reason you are even considering. But while TCO is a very touchy-feely subject for a lot of merchants, why? Because most of the times you don't understand managing the servers, managing the people around it. Somebody has to be available all the time, 24/7. Oh, my website went down. So suddenly there is a whole huge team coming up, and they are trying to find the solution, and they are trying to do it at 2:00 in the morning, and that's just insanely, pathetic for that matter. From the work-life balance structure also, and from the brands. How vocal is the brand, and depending upon that also, it creates a lot of different aspects of why that brand reduces its following. Because if they are your customer is going on the website and suddenly it goes down, then they are not coming back. I'm sorry, but they're not. So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is what Shopify Plus is charging versus the amount of stability and the scalability that you have without having to constantly evolve yourself, and kind of there is a technical debt that goes on evolving with it. And then suddenly you realize, if we have to make this next move, we have to go one step backwards, and then we need to identify, okay, these are the loopholes that we have to address first, and then only we will be able to go forward. So what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of different areas where I can continue to on for the next 2 hours, but because Shopify is able to deliver the stability and the scalability without having to have the human intervention and without needing the human working on it and constantly monitoring it 24/7, that cost drastically reduces. And in conjunction to that, I don't think the Shopify is charging as much.
Mark, Kevin, I have one question where somebody has asked that for high traffic website, what are the limitations to Shopify? And I know we spoke about it briefly, but yeah, is there any?
You know, I don't think that we found out just yet, to tell you the truth. We're pushing the envelope on when it comes to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and and we're still performing. And so, we can only, okay, so I guess let's figure out what handling 50% of e-commerce on that weekend deals with. But, again, to build upon exactly that, all right, one of the great parts about having the SaaS platform is because the ability to handle that scaling is part of the service that you're signing up for. So one of my favorite commerce events that's out there is it really does revolve around the influencer aspect of things and the TikTok and just it blows my mind. Okay, I grew up before the internet. All right, and so this level of connection to a customer is it every day it blows my mind. So one of the things that I find just amazing is you've got an influencer out there who's going to put together, and they've got their following and everything like that, and they drop their little 20-second video, and without and immediately there's tens and hundreds of thousands of people looking at your website. And so all I ask is that you give Techtic a heads up, let us know that the flash sale is coming, and then we can prepare, and we're ready to get behind you. But that kind of flexibility, I don't know, Mark, if that was something that y'all were trying to put in play, how much planning, how much how much would you have to put in front of that in order to even get close to delivering?
Well, and that's one of the things that I can speak to, because we have a very seasonal business and we have huge spikes during the holidays and immense traffic. And that was one of our concerns. And that has been flawless with Shopify. And so I feel extremely good about, the high volume on those spike days.
Yeah. And that brings me to one more question, Nisar. I think you'll be the best person to address that. So after somebody migrates to Shopify Plus, how long would it take for them to start seeing the growth?
That's a very subjective question. So, no, it is a very subjective question, right? Because the growth is Shopify can give you the ability to move faster in terms of your production cycle, or in terms of being stable platform, or it doesn't let you deteriorate your brand values by somebody onto the website and suddenly everything is sluggish, or suddenly you click on another page and there are so many errors on it, and so on and so forth, right? So it helps you protect the brand value, it helps you protect the scalability side of it and the stability side of it. Also, it helps you to navigate your path into multiple platforms like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and so on and so forth. And it lets you do the business across the board with very minimal amount of monitoring required. And if you look at from the last question, if I associate this one, that if you look at from the TCO versus the brand that you're protecting and the amount of people or the orders that you're saving by not letting the website go down, especially in the business like Mark, where if on the 15th of December, if the site goes down, there would be like a huge loss. And that is something that is completely unacceptable. And that has never happened, at least since the day we have started working together. I've never seen that is happening. And we started building the website itself. So I'm not sure if it has ever happened, but and that is the ability to create that growth. That when you can rely on the sales tool, your website is your sales tool, e-commerce is your sales tool, right? And all the marketing efforts can bring that customer into that store, just like a physical store. And then how you convert that is where the Shopify is helping you. So from the conversion side of it, stability side of it, from the speed of creating new feature side of it, that's growth to me. That is absolute growth to me. And if I were a merchant and not the agency, I would look at it from the value, just like what Mark said, that it has been a flawless journey from that side when those 2-3 months is a seasonal months and it's skyrocketing sales.
Yeah.
So I hope
I think, I agree to that. And yes, that brings to an end of this amazing session. It has been wonderful speaking to all of you, learning about a lot of new things today, and specifically getting a lot of clarity as a brand that if I'm planning to migrate, what should I be looking at? What is going to be helpful? And also about learning a brand who migrated actually from a legacy platform to Shopify and seeing it continues to grow, and we wish that it continues to grow even bigger. But that has been a wonderful journey, and it's amazing to be a part of that journey together. So thank you everyone for your time today. And if there's anything that you would like to know from us, you can reach out to us at www.techtic.com or drop us a hello at info@techtic.com. We would love to know if you have any other questions, any concerns, if you want to pick our brains, we are there to help you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Thank you, VT.
Thank you. Bye-bye.